Welcome to the 2022 LOEG Super Bowl preview, given by the coach, manager of the Triple Crown winning tremendous franchise, most wins, most points, most fab at the end of the regular season. And we feature in today's Super Bowl, this week's Super Bowl, Iceman, first ever wild card winner of the LOEG, a new rule that was put into place this year. He made it on the last day of the season. He needed some help. He needed Carlos to actually lose by the kicker of New England getting 10 points and causing Carlos to lose. Carlos fell into 7th. Sammy was in 8th, jumped over him with the most points, and Sammy and Iceman are the wild card winners. They played yours truly last week. They killed us. They had Hawkinson right here, who went off for over 30 points, while Tremendous had Tyreek, Devontae, and D-Hop combining for only 12 points, and that's all she wrote. Opposing Iceman, we have Sanfred and Son, second year in the league, has a great team. He did very well this year. I think he came in third place. So Blue Ghost came in second, he came in third, and he defeated the Blue Ghost very narrowly, I think by about 3 or 4 points, where his kicker came through in the end. Kicker who is no longer on his team, and we'll get into that. And now he is in the finals. So let's go through the team. First things we always do is go through the pickups and some of the benches. So I gave some recommendations to Joe last night of Sanfred, of who to pick up. He picked up everybody I think that I told him to pick up. So Sammy needs some quarterback help. He picked up Minshew last week, who helped him a lot. He had a very good week, I think about 18 points last week, subbing for Jalen Hurts, who was hurt, playing Dallas. And Sammy really could use the quarterback help. So Sanford having the most fab at the time, I think over $50 or about $50, as opposed to Sammy's about $7. Sammy tried to pick up players, couldn't get any of them last night, 0. So he went after the quarterbacks. He took Wentz, he took White, he took Mayfield, he took Bridgewater. 4 different quarterbacks were taken by Joe last night. I agree with many of them. I told him about White. I told him about Bridgewater. I don't believe that he needs Mayfield. I don't think Sammy would start him. I don't believe he needs Pickett. It's a player he had already. He didn't pick him up. Sammy will not start Pickett with an over-under total of about 35 points against Baltimore. So he didn't need him. The big mistake, well, one more player that he picked up, Dotson. I told him to take him. It's a great pickup. He's averaging about 13, 14 points the last 3 weeks for Washington. Sammy also needs some wide receiver help. So he took Dotson. He took a bunch of quarterbacks. He did a great job. I believe he made one mistake. He cut McKinnon. I don't know how you cut McKinnon. McKinnon, the last 3 weeks, 28 points, 10 points, receiving, and he's a running back, receiving, 18 catches, 220 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 3 weeks ago, he played Denver. This week, again, he plays Denver, this time at home. So how you cut McKinnon, I really don't know. Sammy can use him, and we're going to get to the teams in a moment, but I don't agree with this at all. You could have cut Pickett, never being used by Sammy, no way, and you could have kept McKinnon. So I don't agree with this move at all, and let's get into the teams. So we're going to look at quarterbacks. We'll mark them off, who gets the nod here. You have Minshew. We don't know if he's starting yet. It could be Hurts. I just took a look for the latest news. Doesn't say anything yet over who's going to start, whether it's Hurts or Minshew. Hurts did not practice today. Even if Minshew starts, obviously the nod goes to Mahomes. Right there. Now you have running backs. Chubb should be out. Chubb has been horrible. If you take a look at his stats the last 4 or 5 weeks, he doesn't even get 10 points a game. He has a total of 4 catches in 4 games and no touchdowns in the last 4 games. I would not have started Chubb. I'm not saying to cut him. You could have kept McKinnon. I would have put McKinnon in for Chubb. Akers has been very good lately the last 3 games. He was great last week. If you want to leave him in, it's not a problem. I would not have started Chubb, and I would have started McKinnon. I would not have cut McKinnon. So let's look at Kamara versus Chubb. I'm giving the edge to Kamara, even though it's at Philadelphia. Let's switch this, get a better marker. So we get Mahomes, we got Kamara. Sanders, Akers, I like Akers. I think it's actually even. I would give this an even here. So Sanders was okay last week. He was good. Akers was great last week. He's at the Chargers. He's home versus New Orleans. I'll call this even. Now you have receivers. Nothing to talk about. He's got Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the league. The over-under is 48 at Green Bay. Green Bay gives up big plays to receivers. You saw Waddle last week. The edge to Jefferson. He's got Waddle against Diggs. Again, at Cincinnati, they're going to have to score. The point total is 49. I give the edge to Diggs. Waddle's great. Does not have Tua. Also Tyreek. Playing at New England, not so easy. Diggs. You got Evans. Let's talk about Evans. Evans has been horrible. He has not had a touchdown since week 4. He averages 5 points, that's it, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, just 5 points. And I just don't like him. Sammy knew it. Sammy bid on Dotson. He wanted him to start instead of Evans, I'm sure. He did not get him. So that was a good move by Joe in taking Dotson here. Evans is a disaster. Ayuk at Vegas, starting a new quarterback. I don't know what could happen. Good receiver. I'll give a slight edge to Ayuk. Even though he's terrible, he's just a little bit better. This was a great pickup. Joe dropped him. I understood why Joe dropped him. He wasn't going to use him, so he dropped him. Higbee has been great the last few weeks. A couple of touchdowns actually last week. Still a great pickup. No comparison to Hockenson at Green Bay. Hockenson has been great. He hadn't had many touchdowns till last week, but I think he had 13 or 14 catches last week. He gets the edge. That's Sammy's second check. Flex. Goff plays Chicago. This is the highest total of the week at 52. He's home. I mean, you can't compare him to Watson. Sammy's really got to get rid of Watson. I don't even think he's going to start Watson. He did that last week where he put him here and he didn't start him anyway. I give the edge to Goff. There is no kicker here. So that was a smart move as well. He dropped the kicker. There are kickers to take. So I'll mention a few. He could retake Dicker, who he actually cut. He plays at home versus the Rams. He could take Gould at Las Vegas. He's got Elliott on Philadelphia versus New Orleans. And he has Koo at home in a dome versus Arizona. Any of them are good choices. All those teams are favored. So you could pick any one of those. Again, he could take Dicker again. Sammy's not going to spend money to block him. He can see what the weather looks like and pick up whoever he wants over there. I don't think it's better than McPherson. Again, this is a 49-point total. I'll give the edge to Sammy. Defenses. He could have planned much better. He could have taken the Giants last week, who play Indianapolis this week. I took him, but I didn't take him till almost the last day of last week, and they could have been had. He had a lot of fab. He could have cut other players before he even picked up these quarterbacks in order to take a much better defense. They're good. They play Ritter, who could do anything. We have no idea in Atlanta. He could get sacked. He could throw interceptions. Anything could happen. I still like Sammy's D. I'm going to replace some things here, but I'm going to give Sammy the check on defense. So let's make some changes. First, for Sammy, let's stand here. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones should be here. Actually, we'll put him here. Must-win game for the Packers. If they lose, they're out. Not the same with Philadelphia, who could wait till next week to win. They could also wait to see what Minnesota does. All they need to do is win any game or Minnesota lose any game, and they have the home field advantage throughout and the first seed. I would put Aaron Jones here. Next change for Sammy. Find a way to get Greg Davis, 49-point total at Cincinnati. I had him. He was okay this year. He scored last week. They're going to have to score points. He's definitely better than Evans. Find a way to get him. I don't know how you bid and get him because there's also McKinnon, who I think you should try to get as well. Let's take him and put him here. Now, you don't have him yet, so I'll just put the arrow. I'm not going to erase Evans. But this is something that should be done. The next thing is him. If you could get rid of Watson, the quarterback flex at Washington, and find a way to get him, I think that helps your team a lot. So, again, he had 28 points last week. He's not getting to 28 points for you, and I think you're going to need to pick up points somewhere. So, McKinnon is also a big deal. I should mention they each have $7 of fab left to spend. So, you could pick one of them and definitely get him. I would pick him and hope you get him, but that's all I could say. So, he, again, could get rid of two players. He doesn't need Pickett. He doesn't need Mayfield. He could cut him. You'll never take him. Last one for Sammy. The point total here is 35 on the Ravens-Pittsburgh game. The Ravens are home this time. They played 3 weeks ago. The Ravens got 13 points on defense. Pittsburgh, in the last 4 games, has not scored any points. 14, 20, you could take a look at their scores. Pittsburgh does not score. So I would take the Ravens, this defense, and I would put them in instead of the Chargers. They scored 51 points last week. It's a lot of points. Every single drive up until the last drive they scored. Obviously they played a bad team in the Broncos, but that's still a lot of points. So I wouldn't start the Chargers. I think it's sort of close. They were great against Indy, but I would play it safe. I would play the Baltimore Ravens, take your 13 points or 15 points or whatever you're going to get, call it a day, and put them in. So that's my breakdown. You can see it here. I don't see much moves for him to make. He's got all players on the bench. None of them can take the spots of anyone else. Maybe Dotson here. So he could look at that right here. But I think this is very close. Also, Vegas, I don't know what they're up to because they're starting a new quarterback. So you could go crazy. I'm not saying to do it. You could think about it. But you can see here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 check marks. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 check marks. I think it's close. I think he wins unless Sammy finds a way to get Davis and McKinnon. I don't see how he could get both. If he gets both, I think it's very even. It's very hard to predict what will happen. We still don't know if he is playing. So I am picking, if I have to choose right now, I'm picking Sanfred and Son. Iceman did great to get the wild card. If he wins, he's actually 500. And which would be some kind of feat to be 500 and win the LOEG championship. So good luck to both teams. I hope you enjoyed this year's preview, and good luck to everyone.